Hey everybody, welcome back to Sip and Talk. I'm Joe. And as always, I'm ready to dive into some seriously juicy info with you all today. It's like we're mixing up a knowledge cocktail here. Strong stuff, but oh, so smooth going down.
And I'm Sunny, your friendly neighborhood fact checker. I'll make sure we get all the ingredients right. Speaking of mixing things up, you know it's always a good blend? Travel whiskey and discovering awesome new things. You have to check out our friend Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life.
Yeah, Mickey's the best. He's always got something cool going on. We are officially starting. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter what time zone you are in right now. Welcome back to Sip and Talk. I am so excited to be here.
Hey everyone, great to be back.
So the studio AC is actually perfectly cool today, but I am holding this latte and it is piping hot, which is honestly the perfect physical metaphor for what we were talking about today. It is a really burning, kind of complex topic.
It really is. I mean, we are skipping the dry policy talk today to unpack a super fascinating cultural phenomenon, and this all stems from a listener email we got, which is just incredibly sharp.
Oh yeah, let me actually pull it up on my tablet. Okay, so this listener asks, basically, is there a global equivalent to the Asian concept of a princess-style upbringing, richly raising daughters?
Right, the whole material exposure thing.
Exactly. And they write, the goal of this parenting style seems to be making girls completely immune to small favors. So if a guy buys her a drink or a meal, she acts completely unfazed, like a block of wood, treating it as a given.
A block of wood, that is quite the image.
Right. And the email asks, what is lost here? Like genuine emotion or happiness?
Yeah.
And what is actually gained? Is it just protection from scams?
When I first read that, we actually discussed it for quite a while before hitting record because on the surface, it sounds like a dating question. But the underlying logic is entirely about risk management and emotional blind spots.
Oh, totally. And reading that description, I instantly flash back to my days living and working in Silicon Valley. I had this friend out there who was incredibly smart, but she was what I call a high firewall girl.
High firewall, I like that.
Yeah, she was raised with that exact doctrine. Her dad took her to Michelin-starred dinners, private beaches, luxury suites, so her defensive shields were permanently up. And there was this one specific instance that perfectly illustrates this listener's question.
Okay, what happened?
Well, there was this software engineer, super sincere, grounded guy, and he was completely smitten with her. He noticed she needed a way to organize her desk, so instead of just, buying something off the internet, he spent his entire weekend hand-carving this beautiful, intricate wooden box for her.
Oh, wow. I mean, that takes a massive investment of time. That is not just a casual gesture.
Not at all. So he brings it into the office, hands it to her, clearly a little nervous. And her reaction, she literally just looks at it, gives this totally flat, oh, thanks, and just tosses it to the side of her desk like it was a stray paperclip.
Oh, no. She acted exactly like that block of wood the email mentioned.
Exactly like it. The guy was crushed. He just politely excused himself and completely faded out of her life. And a week later, she was complaining to me that guys these days just aren't proactive.
Oh, the irony.
Right. I remember sitting there thinking, you aren't protecting yourself from anything. You are just blocking all the normal network traffic.
That is such a great cybersecurity metaphor. And, it highlights a massive cultural contrast, too. In the U.S., for example, we don't really have a widespread equivalent to that specific rich upbringing doctrine, at least not functioning purely as a defense mechanism.
No, it's a bit different here.
Right. American culture leans much more heavily into concepts of boundaries and emotional reciprocity. If someone buys you a drink, even if you have zero interest in them, acting cold or entitled is widely considered a massive red flag.
Oh, 100%. It signals a fundamental lack of empathy.
Exactly. The expectation is that you show gracious gratitude or you buy the next round to level the playing field. The focus is much more on financial independence. The mentality is, I can buy my own sports car, so if you bring me flowers, I appreciate the thought, not the price tag.
Though, if we are being objective, there's a little bit of Western overlap creeping in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at the Gen Z social media trend around princess treatment.
Oh, true. That is everywhere right now.
Yeah, it teaches young women to never settle for the bare minimum, which sounds kind of similar on the surface. But today, we really want to peel back the layers of this phenomenon. We are going to look at psychology, the dating market, and emotional thresholds.
Yeah, that is going to get deep.
So Sip and Talkers, grab your coffee or glass of wine. We are officially diving in.
So to understand the cost of that wooden reaction, we first have to look at why parents build this psychological armor in the first place. Like, what are the cultural blueprints here?
Right, because nobody does this by accident.
Exactly. If you look at the origins of this phenomenon, particularly in places like Taiwan, China, and Korea, it stems from incredibly competitive societies. There is a profound level of marital anxiety. Parents look at the modern dating landscape and they just see an environment flooded with pickup artists and cheap romance.
Yeah, just manipulators everywhere.
So their specific goal is to give a girl such high material exposure from childhood that she develops an absolute immunity to low-cost tactics. It is basically an anti-scammer protocol hardwired into her upbringing.
Okay, let me push back on that logic for a second, because looking at the dating market today, maybe a massive firewall is actually necessary. Like, we all know how chaotic the dating apps are.
Sure, defense is important.
But isn't this extreme princess method basically like buying a brand new high-performance sports car and then permanently locking it inside a concrete garage so it never gets scratched?
That is a great way to put it.
Right. I mean, sure, it is perfectly safe from accidents, but it is fundamentally useless. You successfully raise the screening threshold, but you risk turning a vibrant person into an isolated fortress.
And when you lock yourself inside a fortress, you run into a huge problem. Because who actually bothers trying to scale that massive emotional wall? The good guys certainly don't. This brings us to a concept in economics called adverse selection.
Okay, break down adverse selection for us.
So adverse selection happens when a market becomes so imbalanced that the good, honest participants are basically driven out, leaving only the bad actors behind. In the dating world, normal, healthy people are driven by self-efficacy.
Self-efficacy. That is the psychological need to feel like your actions actually have an impact, right?
Exactly. It is the reward of feeling that your specific efforts make your partner happy. So when a sincere person puts thought into a gesture, like carving a wooden box, and they hit a wooden wall of entitlement, they do not interpret that as her being high value.
What does they think?
They interpret it as an emotional black hole. And a psychologically healthy person doesn't try harder when they hit a black hole. They politely turn around and walk away to find someone capable of reciprocity.
Wow, so the firewall successfully repels all the good, sincere people, which means you are just left with survivor bias. Who is actually left trying to break through?
You are left with exactly two types of people. Type 1 is incredibly wealthy individuals who just use sheer financial capital to smash the door down.
Because they can easily afford the low-entry entry fee.
Right. They don't need emotional connection or self-efficacy, but the moment that happens, the relationship instantly commodifies. It turns into a purely transactional exchange of resources.
It stops being a romance and just becomes a corporate merger.
Yes, exactly. And type 2, the top-tier emotional predators, the players. They don't care about a cold wooden reaction because they aren't looking for genuine connection either. They view the high firewall as a fun game.
That is terrifying.
It is. They possess the superficial charm and the resources to just fake the high-end princess treatment long enough to win the game and exploit the target.
Going back to the tech metaphors, that is literally a denial of service attack. By building a firewall to keep out a low-level scammer with a cup of boba tea, you accidentally block all the normal, healthy traffic.
Yep, all the good people.
And you just leave the back door wide open exclusively for master thieves who want to steal your life savings. The defense mechanism creates the exact vulnerability it was supposed to prevent.
Which brings us to the internal cost. The listener asked what happens to the person's happiness. When someone is rigorously trained to be permanently unimpressed, it results in a psychological condition called emotional threshold inflation.
Emotional threshold inflation. So like economic inflation, where your money buys less, but for your feelings.
Precisely. Neurologically, our dopamine systems regulate based on our baseline environment. If you eat a 3-star Michelin meal every single day, your palate eventually goes completely numb.
You just stop tasting the nuance.
Right. And in the emotional realm, the person loses the vital human ability to feel micro-happiness.
Micro-happiness. I love that term. That is the texture of everyday life, like getting butterflies from a clumsy handwritten note. Or the warmth of a guy walking across town in the freezing rain to bring you a $3 bowl of hot soup because you had the sniffles.
But under threshold inflation, her psychological system literally filters out that genuine display of love because it fails to meet the pre-programmed material baseline. She evaluates the price tag, not the intent.
Oh, so she wouldn't even register the guy in the rain as romantic.
Not at all. She would just be annoyed he didn't order premium delivery. She becomes immune to cheap manipulation, sure, but she also becomes completely immune to genuine affection.
That is so tragic, and it totally destroys the foundation of a long-term partnership. Because if you look at social exchange theory, healthy relationships absolutely require reciprocity.
They have to have it.
Yeah. When one partner acts like everything is just a given, the giving partner starts to feel like they're paying an emotional tax. Just to exist in the relationship, they have to pay up, and they get no dividend, no warmth, no thank you.
And a high-value, secure partner wants an equal teammate to build a life with. They do not want a statue to worship. If they feel like they are just paying a tax to a block of wood, they will logically take their love elsewhere.
I feel like the ultimate blind spot in this whole parenting philosophy is conflating defense with appreciation. They are fundamentally different things. True worldliness isn't about being bored by everything.
Yeah, not a lot.
It is about knowing what a real, rare truffle tastes like, so you aren't fooled by cheap synthetic truffle oil. But at the exact same time, maintaining the capacity to be deeply, genuinely moved when someone hands you a warm, perfectly baked sweet potato that they made just for you.
That is a perfect analogy. Knowing the difference doesn't mean losing the heart to appreciate the gesture.
Exactly. So, okay, how do we fix this? If pure material rich upbringing creates these lonely emotional islands and leaves you vulnerable to players, how do we patch the code? We can't just lower our standards and let the scammers back in.
No, you definitely don't want to do that. Psychology offers a really robust answer to this. The ultimate patch is gratitude education.
Let's dig deep into that, because I want to be super clear for anyone listening. We are not just talking about forcing your kids to politely mumble thanks when a relative hands them a gift card.
Far from it. In positive psychology, true gratitude is an active three-part system. It is cognitive, emotional, and behavioral. You have to engage all three to actually bypass the firewall safely.
Okay, so what's the cognitive part?
The cognitive pillar requires you to actively recognize the effort and the sacrifice. You have to intellectually process that the engineer didn't just hand you a wooden box. He sacrificed his entire weekend for you.
You have to actually see the invisible labor behind the object.
Yes. And then comes the emotional pillar. You have to allow yourself to feel the warmth of that gesture. You have to drop the defensive shield for a second and be vulnerable enough to receive care.
Which is hard for a lot of people.
It is very hard. And finally, the behavioral pillar is reciprocity, taking tangible action to show the other person that you value what they gave you, which completes that psychological loop of self-efficacy for them.
I know the clinical data on active gratitude practices is incredibly strong.
It is overwhelming, honestly. Couples who actively practice this three-part gratitude system experience a positive loop. Research indicates that the simple act of expressing and receiving genuine gratitude adds roughly 68 minutes of quality time to a couple's day.
Wait, 68 minutes? That is huge.
It literally expands the space for connection. It lowers cortisol, increases intimacy, and builds secure attachment. It replaces that resentful emotional tax with a compounding emotional dividend.
Okay, let me introduce a little friction here, though. Doesn't focusing heavily on gratitude risk making you a pushover?
How do you mean?
Like, if I am training myself to always look for the bright side and be thankful for the little things, don't I risk staying in a toxic relationship just because a partner bought me a cup of coffee once and I felt obligated to be grateful?
It is a really common fear, but clinical observation shows the reality is the exact opposite. True multi-pillar gratitude actually sharpens your vision.
Really? How so?
Because true gratitude requires that cognitive recognition of genuine effort. So you become highly attuned to what real reciprocal sacrifice actually looks like. When your baseline is tuned to authentic connection, manipulation stands out clearly. You become hyper-aware of the difference between a sincere gesture and a transactional bribe.
Oh, I see. So it functions like an intelligent filter for your network traffic. You keep the high standards so the low-effort scammers still get bounced at the gate. But you program the system to actively welcome the genuine connections.
Exactly. You get the protection without the isolation. You retain your immunity to cheap manipulation, but preserve your capacity for micro-happiness. The winning formula isn't about lowering your standards. It is high standards combined with high gratitude.
High standards, high gratitude. I love
Sure.
that. You refuse to accept the bare minimum, but when you witness someone genuinely trying, you actively value it.
That is the patch right there.
This entire conversation has been such a paradigm shift. I want to leave everyone listening with a final provocative thought to mull over today. Take a hard look at your own personal firewalls. We all have them, built from our past experiences and our fears.
Yeah, we all do.
But ask yourself, are your high standards actually protecting your heart? Or have they become so rigid that they are just blocking out all the good traffic? Are you stubbornly demanding a 3-star Michelin experience and completely missing out on the person standing in the rain with the soup?
That is a vital question for anyone navigating human connection today. And as we wrap up, we want to warmly remind everyone that today's conversation was an objective, cross-cultural observation.
Absolutely.
Our core ethos here is to champion independent, critical thinking. We do not criticize, judge, or discriminate against any country or culture's parenting styles. We are simply looking at the psychological mechanisms.
Yeah, we are all just trying to figure out how to navigate the risks of life while keeping our capacity for joy completely intact. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Please remember to subscribe to Sip and Talk on your favorite platform so you never miss one of these conversations.
Definitely hit subscribe.
And before we sign off, we have to give a quick shout out to our old friend Mickey. Make sure to head over to YouTube and check out the amazing brand new travel vlogs on Mickey's channel, Mickey to Life. The storytelling is fantastic. You do not want to miss it.
It really is great content. Go check it out.
All right, it is time for me to finally drink this latte before it turns into iced coffee. Let's take those cars out of the garage and take them for a spin. We'll catch you next time.